What's up, guys, and welcome back to what should be game number 2 between Isurus Gaming and the House is Down. Looks like we are going to actually connect in. Isurus Gaming, they're working with their full lineup now. Papita is now in the game, and sorry for the mess up on the wait screen. It's actually Isurus Gaming currently 1-0 up above the House is Down, so that's the score. And this is game number 2, so this is the last game of the night. And I'm going to be one of your casters. I'm Mike Loris. I'm joined still by Grandis V.
Yeah, that last game, DDX's Storm Strip made a whole heck of a lot of space for the rest of his team. The early game just didn't work out for fullback Gyrocopter, as well as the Razor, despite not having as poor of a start, didn't really do very much until that last couple of team fights. And in the end, the House is Down. They went for a contest on a Roshan that just went all sorts of wrong. They bought a BKB on their Morphling, which they thought would be enough to win them the team fight, but a really fast Hex by DDX made sure that they were able to burst him down before he got it off, and crucially, that BKB meant that the Morphling had no buyback, so after that, it was 2 lanes of down in the favor of Isurus, and despite the House is Down looking really strong up until that point, it was all over from there. They were definitely on the razor's edge of losing the game anyways. If the game went later, the Gyrocopter would get his items up. But enough about game 1 as we go into game number 2, with bans looking pretty similar to what we saw from game 1. With the exception being the Shadow Shaman, I don't think it was first banned out. But either way, we are going to have Faceless Void, Razor, Lycanthrope, Shadow Shaman taken out of the pool, with Isurus Gaming first picking up the Brewmaster, and then Scarith Mage, the first pick for the House is Down.
Yeah, they themselves banned out the Faceless Void, so unfortunately that really isn't an option, though. With the Scarith Mage opening, you could always go for a Doom as your second, get those 2 really nice silences out, or just go for Centaur and go kill things. Okay, I mean, you do get that amplification from Ancient Seal, that's plus 45% into a 400 damage nuke. That hurts. I don't really care who you are. It is probably going to kill you, or at least bring you down very low, so maybe this is the game where it'll be appropriate to see a Visage, I don't know, but either way, it's a very, very aggressive 2-hero start for the House is Down.
Yeah, definitely. Centaur Warrior, despite being able to get the kills early on, he really doesn't start to shine until he gets his Blink Dagger, so it might delay the aggression from the House is Down a little bit. But then again, it's going to coincide probably with the timing of the Blink on the Brewmaster, so I'd expect some clashes to start pretty early on in the mid-game, despite there only being 3 picks just yet. Isurus Gaming, they are pretty open as far as their next choice for heroes. I'm not sure where they want to angle, although Viper is available, and I'd expect that to be their pick. There are still plenty of other heroes available in the pool.
Yeah, Viper would be a nice tanky hero that does stand a higher chance of surviving this burst combo coming up from the House is Down, more so than other heroes, just because he does have that additional magic resistance given to him by Corrosive Skin. And of course, you know, these teams love to pick up Viper. They place a lot of priority, and he often does work when he does get through the pool, so it's fair enough to see. And, ooh, hello, that's a very early Jakiro pick from the Isurus. And ordinarily, you don't see Jakiro unless you're already going for a pretty aggressive pushing lineup, but with Brewmaster as their first, it doesn't really lend itself to a whole lot of pushing, at least not yet.
Yeah, just in a vacuum, Jakiro is going to be a pretty solid pusher, at least for those tier 1 towers. The constant chip damage from Liquid Fire is going to be useful, as well as the slowed attack speed. It's not a bad pick by any means, but it's very peculiar to see it this early on, without the likes of like a Death Prophet, Shadow Shaman, or Pugna. With the Enigma ban, I think the House is Down are going to start focusing down some of these pushing heroes, but then again, some of them are going to slip through the cracks, and Isurus might still be able to craft that pushing style lineup, even though they go for the first pick Brewmaster.
I'm pretty sure they also banned out the Enigma in the 3rd ban in the last game, which is kind of curious to me. They're going to let the pushing heroes get through and instead take out the Bat Rider. As House is Down, they're going to go for a Silencer 3rd pick. Wow. Now, it's a decent enough hero if he's played in a core role, gets his farm up, then he'll be able to do some pretty serious damage and always offers that utility of Global Silence. However, picking him up this early is a little bit questionable. He probably would have been let through probably to the last pick slot, so they're placing a lot of priority on the Silencer, and he should be pretty good against the Brewmaster. He's okay versus the Jakiro and everything like that. House is Down, really looking to make those fights happen within that short Global Silence window where they'll be, hopefully, able to kill off the Brewmaster. Right now they have 2 silences and a stun, so the House is Down, looking to be okay as far as their crowd control is concerned, but Isurus, they might not let the Silencer get much space. With this Jakiro picked up already, they can just turn up the aggression dial, pick up someone like a Death Prophet and or Pugna, and then just push the towers down and not let Silencer get any space.
Yeah, I really think that's what they should do, or maybe just pick something that can get into the Silencer's face and just make his life awful. But yeah, I think that Isurus Gaming, they should probably just go straight into the push. Right now, the houses down have very little counter push. The Centaur Warner, as well as the Skyrath Mage and Silencer, offer very little in that department. You can right-click them down for sure. The Double Edge is probably their most useful tool. Arcane Bolt is okay, but I don't know. Isurus, they could probably just fully commit to it. I'm not sure there's a compelling reason why not. Their team fight might be a little bit harder to pull together with the Silencer, as long as the ultis are on point. And I don't know, the house is down. The Silencer ultimate, it's kind of feeling like it's more just to ensure that they're able to get the pickoffs and then get out safely. Jump in with the Centaur Warner while they're silenced up, burst them down with the Skyrath Mage, and then escape in that time, rather than where we usually see silencers up against big teamfight ultimates like the Faceless Void, Tidehunter, Enigma, that type of hero. Clockwork the pickup for Isurus. Not a huge fan of this one, although it is going to hold them in place pretty effectively for the Macropyre and follow up Ice Path. Scarlet Mage and Silencer are going to be pretty easily picked off by it, but I think they could have gone more into the pushes. The next two picks come very quickly and are actually pretty surprising. The Invoker makes a little bit more sense for me, as it will set up pretty nicely for Centaur Warner to be able to burst down targets, but the Templar Assassin kind of comes out of left field. What are your thoughts on this pick here?
Well, first of all, the Clockwork is a hero that does get in the face of the Silencer, and Templar Assassin can very well do the same. So, Isurus Gaming, they are preparing for going for the Silencer super aggressively, and really that's what you gotta do for Silencer. Make sure he's dead, because then you don't have to worry about silences, and you don't have to worry about your intelligence being stolen. It's a great strategy. The House is Down with this Invoker has not much setup at all for a Sunstrike or anything like that, and he's another hero that really crumbles under the pressure of Clockwork, and hopefully a Blinking Templar Assassin, potentially just a race car TA. Either way, it's going to be Invoker who needs to keep his space, and the House is Down with only the Centaur to keep spacing. It's going to be a little bit difficult for them. They need another core hero, or another support, rather, as the Silencer hopefully is played as a core. So, when the House is Down, they have to worry about a lot of initiation. They banned out the Batrider, which is, it's solid enough, but Clockwork and TA and Brewmaster could all start fights very well by themselves, so the House is Down, the Silencer has to be on point with his Global Silence, and if he's the one getting initiated upon and stunned up by the Clockwork, and if he dies, then I don't see a House is Down beating this fighting lineup from Isurus Gaming. They just have so much more damage and so much more power with the heroes they have right now. Of course, if the House is Down are the ones going aggressive, then they can conceivably burst people down pretty quickly, again with the Centaur combination, but Templar Assassin with her Refraction is going to be very hard for the House is Down to break through outside of a Mystic Flare, and then Clockwork is kind of the same way, he's just tanky, but we were hoping for it in the last game. This game, we're going to see it. It's a Meepo. It's not the best of circumstances, especially with this last pick, Alchemist.
Yeah, especially not. Templar Assassin, incredibly good against Meepos. The physical burst is really where you want to be bursting down that hero, as well as the splash damage. Being able to pick off some escaping Meepo clones is very useful. They have plenty of ways to peel apart the individual Meepos, and it's going to be a pretty hard game for the Meepo to keep himself alive, although it's also not my favorite game for Meepo, as this is probably going to be a support Silencer, and he just doesn't have very good supports to back him up. Although a Meepo can definitely run away with this game if it gets off to an early start, this is probably not the game to pull it out.
Yeah, I mean, Meepo is going to have a decent time versus Brewmaster, but that's only an iffy time. Clockwork is going to jump in with the cogs, and Meepo doesn't really like that. He likes to have all his Meepos together, and doesn't really want to worry about that pseudo-stun pushback from the cogs. TA, Alchemist, and Jakiro, all with their amount of AoE, is going to make Meepo's life very difficult. So, though, as I do love to see the hero, it's one of my favorite fringe heroes to see played. I don't know if he's going to have the best of times, so we'll see if the House is Down could pull it together, because they are going to need this win to tie up the series, and we're going to see what happens. Laposa is going to be playing the Silencer, currently going up towards the top lane, and he has a ring of protection, so this looks like it is going to be a core Silencer after all. The Skyrath Mage is going to be supporting. He's going to be played by Gui. Following up is going to be Vestius on the Meepo, also with the ring of protection. Okay. Invoker is going to be played by Yuka, and Meepo, yeah, I mentioned he's played by Vestius. Jubilu is on the bottom lane as Centaur Warrunner, and Yuka is going to be playing the Invoker.
Yeah, very peculiar. On the Radiant side, we are going to have Isurus with Pepita handling the off-lane Clockwork. In the mid lane, we are going to have Templar Assassin handled by DDX off of a really solid Storm game. In the bottom tri-lane is going to be Nadera on the Jakiro with fullback playing on the Alchemist. I think that might be a farming Alchemist, actually, with Dulce handling the Brewmaster. Never mind. Excuse me. Alchemist is just going to start with those boots first, so he's able to get those stuns off pretty effectively. He was farming on the Gyrocopter last game, however. The rather stand-in situation is what's going to shuffle that around.
So yeah, fullback with the boots to open up, Nadera with an ice path to follow. It's not the deadliest of roaming combinations. It is definitely capable of bringing people down, especially when you're roaming into the likes of Invoker or a Meepo or any of the supports from the houses down. They can get those kills if they land a decently charged up unstable concoction. If not, if they just go for Jubilee like this, then they can't really get the kills. Centaur Warrunner is simply too tanky, and Liquid Fire being picked up at level 1 is going to limit the aggressive roaming potential of these two supports from Isurus, though it's not really going to bother the houses down too much, as with a Meepo and a Skywrath Mage support, they're also not going to be able to roam. Is Vestius just playing a full-on support Meepo? Because him and the Silencer have pretty much the exact same loadouts, and, well, one of them has to be playing support. The only question is who?
Well, this is looking eerily familiar to a game that I remember where you were playing on a Silencer and I was playing on Meepo, but it looks like the Silencer is going to take the farm, and Meepo is just going to be a support. But yeah, I'd expect one of them to get Tranquil Boots and one of them to get Basilius, but then again, if the Meepo is roaming and not sitting in lane once he gets his level 3, getting a Basilius for himself isn't bad by any means.
Yeah, they were watching our game. They learned from the best. In case anyone was wondering, that game was a train wreck. Don't ever lane Meepo and Silencer together and with both of them expecting to be the core farmer. It doesn't work. Vestius, it looks like he is just going to be a pure support Meepo. He's not going to have the best of times, though. Really support Meepo. He does get a lot of levels up just by his nature of having Divided We Stand. He's going to be able to recover a lot from his early game lack of experience, but without gold, he's not really going to be doing too well. No Blink Daggers, no Aghanim Scepters, nothing like that. So this is going to be a very awkwardly laned stage. Meepo is also going to be pretty much completely unable of roaming away from this lane. Earthbind is the only real tool he has for ganking, and if he gets an Earthbind poof onto Pepita, it's some pretty decent damage, but it's certainly not capable of killing off a TA or anything like that. So this is going to be, for sure, one of the most awkwardly laned Meepos that I've ever seen, at least for a very long time. I guess this is going to mean that Leposa getting farm is going to be a very high impact silencer, and that's always refreshing to see. But it's at the cost of a Meepo, and really it's at the cost of the other lanes as well. Not having a support to roam around and be aggressive is going to limit Yuka's aggressiveness and really overall potential in lane, especially versus Templar Assassin, which in and of itself is not the best matchup for Invoker.
Yeah, Scar's Mage has sat mid for quite a large portion of this game, putting a little bit of pressure on the TA, but it's still not enough to shut her down. 11 and 4 in the TA compared to 8 and 1 in the Invoker. And also the Invoker not getting as many levels as maybe you'd like to because of the Skywrath Mage sitting in lane for quite a bit. Sitting a level behind the Templar Assassin is not really where the Invoker wants to be. It's kind of a dual lane, or at this point I think you can pretty much call that. Gui hasn't really left this spot. The Meepo, his biggest ability to come back is in the flash farming of stacks, so I'd like to see THD maybe get some of those going for Vestius, but it's still incredibly greedy, and I think they'll be able to make pretty good use of this as in mid. Templar Assassin potentially looking for a dive, and she'll be able to get it with the splash kill. Beautiful by DDX. That was perfect.
What a baller. DDX is going to take a little bit of damage right now, but you were asking, can you actually call this dual lane? Yes, you can, but you could also call it a completely lost dual lane for the houses down. Like, losing the Invoker there was just the cherry on the cake for Isurus. The fact that Templar Assassin is currently outlast hitting the Invoker and out-denying him, even with Skywrath Mage there to support, means that DDX is winning this lane 1v2, and that shouldn't really happen with any matchup, really. So Templar Assassin pulling out some big plays with the Psyblade Harass, for one thing, and also to get the kill, that's something completely different. He doesn't have a bottle. Oh, there's the bottle. Okay, I'm like, why is he going for a Hand of Midas before bottle? Seems a little bit risky, but with the bottle here, DDX is going to be pretty much in firm control of the lane. Although up on top, Pepita going to go strong into the post. The cogs are there, and now they're in a man-fight situation. Pepita taking way too much damage, though. The Curse of the Silent will not kill him off, but the post is showing that he's capable of doing this 1v1 versus the Clockwork. So now Vestius, he's on jungle duty. This Meepo is going to be pulling and stacking pretty much all at the same time, because he does have those clones of himself. And now he's going to be recovering. So this is pretty much exactly what we see coming out from support Sand Kings, where they just spend the first couple minutes either being played super defensively or aggressively, and then they just jungle up for their items. So Meepo essentially is going to be playing the Sand King role for the houses down.
Yep, I'm curious to see where his build is going, but that's going to have to wait as Pepita's gone on with the double poof, the double net also coming through. They might have enough damage. The Clockwork is delaying this with the cogs as well as Battery Salt. One more Glaive of Wisdom, they need a little bit more damage, and Vestius might fall or well, not fall, an extra poof coming in will be enough to secure that. Well played by the Meepo is going to make up for the fact that this early lane just isn't working out for them. As the Alchemist is roaming mid, looking for a stun onto Yuka. He's going to be able to find this pretty easily as there's no invis available, and oh, just look at him melt. That minus armor is huge, and now fullback. He is probably going to lose his life here, but LDS DDX looking to trade onto Jubilee. The silence is going to come out. He just needs that little bit of extra damage. It's going to be more kills for him, is actually double kill. Fullback gets that with the acid spray. DDX surviving with very little HP up towards the top as they rotate in with Pepita, chasing down Gooey through the woods. He's going to get that battery assault tick going. Now the Cog's going to bounce him back, unfortunately. Will drain all of his mana out, and now Pepita caught in a very awkward situation. But there you go, 3-2 our kill score. Isurus coming out on top. DDX crucially not dying there.
Yeah, really that's the biggest win for Isurus right now. Their Templar Assassin is going to be able to put out some serious damage. She is going to look... It looks like she's going to go for a Hand of Midas, which is a very rarely seen item for Templar Assassin just because she does so much better with early game items as opposed to going for super late. Though super late Templar Assassin can still do work, it's just not as common to see. They're going to go up on top lane for Liposa, but this is pretty ambitious from them. The Alchemist is going to end up stunning himself. A little bit embarrassing, but we're going to pretend we didn't see that. As long as DDX gets a lot of farm, he'll be able to put the screws to not only the Invoker, but also blocking the damage from the Centaur, and really being able to like 3-shot the Meepo is going to eliminate a lot of the Meepo's power. And it seems like it's going to get to about that stage. As the bottom lane, Nadera is going to get got on by Jubilee with the boots on the Centaur. No boots on Nadera. He's going to walk him down. Double edge for the kill. I was taking a peek at that, and I thought Jubilee would peel away, but he was stuck onto that Jakiro very, very firmly, and he does not give up. And why does this guy keep on talking? This guy needs to be quiet.
I have no idea, and I don't know what he's saying either. As the Meepo is cleaning up a little bit of his stack, he's able to do it pretty effectively. With 2 points up in the poof, it's enough damage in order to take it out, although he is going to delay things for now, potentially looking for mid. If he gets a net, they might be able to turn on to DDX, but then again, they might just all die. They're going to get the silence off. No refraction for you, no meld. They are going to poof in the Meepos, but the refraction is going to come. The Ice Wall now on top of DDX. He's not going to be able to get Vestius before he falls. The Ice Path is going to land. Now Vestius might die. Global Silence is going to keep him safe, and they get a much-needed kill on the Templar Assassin.
Global Silence keeping Meepo safe, but more importantly, Silencer used it to keep himself safe. The Alchemist was charging up a stun, and ultimately he ended up stunning himself once again because he couldn't actually get in range for the Unstable Concoction melee, and he couldn't throw it out either because he was silenced. So double value coming out from the Silencer's ultimate. Whether intentional or not, the end result is going to be Templar Assassin going down, and well, I mean, if she had phase boots, I don't know if she would have lived, but it certainly would have been a little bit easier for her to try to escape. They're now going to rotate down to the bottom lane with the Alchemist once again charging up his stun and going to end up stunning himself. That's like 3 for 3. Now Jubilee's going to charge right in with the Stampede. The Hoof Stomp not going to be committed just yet, but Vestius is here as well just to get the experience. Sunstrike is going to completely whiff onto DDX, but he's going to be fine to try to turn this one around. Vestius is going to poop in the Meepos and burst the LDS down very quickly. The Meld is going to save him for only a little bit, as actually he buys back into the game, really. I don't think he has a TP scroll. What is the point of that top lane? They're going to go for Liposa now. Dulce has picked up his Blink Dagger, and it's certainly going to be a surprise for Liposa. With the split, he's going to ensure the kill on the Silencer, and really, Gooey is going to get thrown up there. I don't think the Skywrath Mage can do anything, and he's just going to go down as well, I think. Purge down, another rock is going to, find him as he lands, and now the right-click damage from these Brewlings should be able to kill the Skywrath Mage. I don't know what the Skywrath Mage was trying to do, but it certainly wasn't a good idea, as DDX is going to, well, disconnect from the game, but yeah, unnecessary buyback from Templar Assassin. Regardless, it is going to be a very easy solo double kill for Dulce up on top lane. That's a pretty nice win for Isurus.
Yeah, it really is. After dying twice, after a really good start for DDX, his early start has pretty much been completely thrown away, especially with that buyback. Although it's pretty early on, and that buyback's not going to hurt him that much economically, as far as, I don't know, the amount of gold it's going to cost. It's still going to pretty much take away all hopes of getting that Hand of Midas at an early click, and DDX's impact is going to be very heavily delayed. He might just back off for treads, to be honest. I'm not sure if going for the Midas is the right choice anymore, or if it was in the first place. Meepo now has his power treads online. He's going to be taking up a decent bit with this, and I think after this, he's probably going to go into a blink, although Acronym Scepter Rush is also pretty legit on your Meepos. But yeah, this Brewmaster is looking wonderful. He's going to have his boots upgrade after the Blink Dagger and is just having a really good time overall. 80 seconds before his next split, but the first one definitely impactful.
Yeah, and if he could keep using his splits like that, then it should be an easy roll for Isurus Gaming. They should just ride that all the way to victory. I think this Templar Assassin, going for the Hand of Midas off of her great early start was one thing, and that's perfectly reasonable. After dying once, it's going to be a moment where she probably is going to reconsider. dying twice is definitely a reconsideration, I think. At this point, it'll still be probably a sub 10-minute hand to Midas, but it's a little bit too slow, especially since Templar Assassin, her goal is to either be the hyper carry, in which case she would have been getting lane farm, but when you're going into mid, you need to be dictating the pace of the game with Blink Dagger or just mass movement speed, and she's going to have really neither of those for a very long time. Now they're going to stampede onto Nadera down in the bottom. The Sunstrike is going to land, that will kill off the Dragon down on the bottom lane. Isurus, since Templar Assassin is going to be running with this Hand of Midas build, they're pretty much going to be fighting 4v5 for the next 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah, and also the pickoff potential coming up from THD showing really strong is with the Stampede on the Meepos, they are making up for the fact that Vestius doesn't have an initiation tool, like that Blink Dagger, and now with the 2 points up in the net, he's made up for the fact that net early on is very bad at getting in range for those kills, and yeah, Vestius, he's had a pretty good game, all said and done. 1-0-3, 21 CS isn't great, but a lot of those are the big jungle creeps from his stacks, so he's doing completely fine. They have a Silencer that went for Hand of Midas, but for Silencer, those extra levels are going to be very useful, and honestly, he's not like a TA where he wants to be making the space or anything along those lines. He's not going to be getting kills, and for the most part, he's just there for the global.
Yeah, so the Silencer Hand of Midas is definitely a lot more appropriate than the Templar Assassins. Even though they got them at about the same time, Silencer wants to play this very, very slow. He needs a lot more items than the TA in order to really get going, because his raw values, although pretty high with the last word, aren't really too impressive. So this is going to ensure that he's going to be getting his Aghanim's eventually with maxed out Curse of the Silent. That should be the build for the Silencer. But if he doesn't want to go for that, he could just go for a smashing build and just get, you know, Sheepstick, Orchid, items along those lines, and then just go for a lot of plus damage with the Glaives, which currently level 1 would indicate that he's not going to go for that, but it's never too late to transition. Top lane, Dulce might be in a little bit of trouble as the Centaur. He's waiting in the wings, but Brewmaster has Blink and Split. There's no way to kill the Brewmaster off without a Blink Dagger on the Centaur. He's very close to it, so once that happens, the Houses Down are going to look to be super aggressive. But I think with the Silencer and Meepo on their side, they're not going to be diving super aggressively for kills. They know that Templar Assassin has a Hand of Midas, but they also have 2 Hands of Midas on their own team. Invoker with his, as well as Silencer, and just a Meepo. If this game does get late, then the Houses Down are going to be hitting very hard.
Yeah, they really are. I'm not sure if they want to take it incredibly late, as if the Templar Assassin gets 6-slotted, the Meepo is going to have a lot of troubles. They do drop the Silence, and they get the Brewmaster with the Global up top. They were able to line everything properly. I wasn't sure they were able to get that kill, but that's going to secure a Blink Dagger for the Centaur, and we'll Global down, but it's definitely worth the pickoff on the Brew.
I think half of that was the Brewmaster didn't expect that to happen either. He thought that for sure the split would keep him safe. But Global Silence is just as it sounds. It's a silence that's global, and, well, if you get bursted down within that duration, then Meepo with the level 4 poof, plus the Centaur damage, it's certainly going to do the damage there. We might be seeing a little bit of action mid lane as Pepita looking for an angle with the hook shot. I don't think he was spotted out by anyone just yet, and he's looking for Yuka. This is a viable kill for the Clockwork, and he has a regen rune, so he can feasibly get the kill, back off, and then regenerate back up to full. Although Yuka seems to be pretty safe for now. It looks like they're just going to slow push this tower. Nadara really hasn't done that much as Jakiro. Got a couple of kill participations, but no real tower pushing as of yet, as all the tier 1s are still alive. With the Forged Spirits to draw the aggro, it is going to remain that way for quite a long time. However, they're going to go for mid now. The trap is going to reveal Vestius as well as Gui, so no surprises here for the Isurus gaming side. And they are just still waiting on Pepita. I know as soon as I look away, they're going to go in. Teleportation in from the Centaur. Meepo is going to die in the meantime due to the Panda and Alchemist. So, yeah, he's going to get picked off. Now here's the jump in. Jubilu's going to land a 2-man stomp. Going to blow up Nadera before he gets a single spell off. Actually, Ice Path does go out as Pepita going to get a Cogs onto 2 with LDS on the outsets, attacking him with the double damage, and he's going to clean all of them up, dropping pretty low himself, but with the Majestic charges, he's going to run away now from Jubilu. Stampede, although he's going to reconsider, wants out now as Pepita, still with that regen rune, is going to give chase. He's pretty quick, and Jubilu fairly slow due to the Psionic traps. LDS still wants in on this, and they're going to not get it. Centaur is going to blink away, but still, it was a 3 versus 3 in the middle lane, and Isurus walk away with 2 kills, only 1 death, and it's only on the Jakiro. Again, who cares? Pepita as well as LDS still doing some serious damage. Double damage rune coming in big for this Templar Assassin.
Yeah, Vestius just got cut out down in bottom. I don't think they used the split. Yeah, there you go. Dulce didn't, or wasn't forced into using that one. It was just an Alchemist concoction landing. And the Meepo, he was forced to poof out of mid to try to save his primary Meepo, but it wasn't enough. Jubilu, luckily enough for them, was able to survive, but now the Templar Assassin is going to start getting relevant very quickly, and it's going to be a pretty huge threat. With the 2 points up in the side blade, she was able to reach over the cogs very effectively, and just did so much damage. Even with the Hand of Midas and Power Treads as all of her items, it's enough to still be a potent threat. Blink Dagger next, maybe go for the BKB.
Is going to try to go for full back, although he does poof out, and now we're going to have a concoction thrown all the way across the map, which is going to do nothing. They also picked up the Jakiro in the middle lane. I didn't catch that one because fight was brewing bottom, but Jakiro also goes down. But fourth death, it's going to suck for the Dragon for sure, but he's going to be fine with taking these deaths for the team. Better him dying than the Templar Assassin or the Brewmaster.
Yeah, for sure. It is going to be a failed gank on the Meepo, and yeah, Meepo, 1.5 seconds is all he needs, so if you're not able to lock him down immediately, those poofs away are going to keep him safe for quite a large portion of the game. They don't have very good instant stuns coming up from their team. Clockwork Hookshot's probably the best as they go up top. The Global Silence is going to stop Dulce in his tracks, and now the Sunstrike comes through. He's not going to be able to get it off. 43 seconds, he's going to be dead. And, well, Global Silence, pretty much that's all that they need to save it for is that Brewmaster ultimate, and they've used it appropriately.
Yeah, you can't really fault him for trying. They're also going to go for Vestius, who's stuck in the perma-stun because of Clockwork, actually. Who's going to pick off the Meepo in response, but can't really blame the Brewmaster for trying to go for that kill. Killing off the Silencer is a high profile and perfectly reasonable attempt for the Brewmaster to do solo. Unfortunately, the Silencer is not sleeping, and he was not surprised. Jubilu might be surprised about this. He does have a Blink Dagger out. Ice Path is going to miss, but it's going to be a tower destroyed from both sides, actually, as House is down, take down a top tier 1, and Isurus take down a mid tier 1. Jubilu's going to run straight to fullback, who also has a Blink Dagger of his own, though Alchemist not as bursty, not by any means, and Jubilu could chase this one down with Stampede. In fact, he's going to look to do so. Stampeding now, he's going to chase the fullback. In the meantime, the Posa is going to be ganked up at the exact same time. Losing the Silencer definitely a lot worse than losing the Alchemist, so it's a nice win for Isurus. Also, they had to deal with Stampede, which it didn't really do that much for the Houses down, except for secure a kill on the support, but I think it's a support kill, who cares? So overall, it's a pretty nice trade for Isurus, and they're going to continue with this top lane train. Yuka is now in sight, although no disables on this Invoker. There's the slow, but he has a Force Staff. He also does have Ghost Walk if things get really bad, but he's not going to need either of them. In fact, he's going to turn this one around with Gooey, who's going to land the Concussive Shot as well as a couple of Arcane Bolts. Silence is up on LDS, and now they're going to try to bring him down, but with no Cold Snap, they can't actually do a lot of damage to Templar Assassin. The Ice Wall is dropped. It's going to do pretty much nothing, actually, as House is down, still looking for reinitiation here. Centaur with no Stampede has arrived. He has a Blink Dagger, but they can't catch up to LDS unless he turns around. Oh, sneaky, sneaky. I think they saw him, though. Yeah, they definitely saw him. Yeah, now he's going to make a break for it. The Swift Stomp is available. He's going to hold it for now. Force Staff to the right. Okay, that happened. Now he's going to jump in for LDS, but I think it might be a little bit too late. Ice Path is going to cover the Templar Assassin, and Pepita has arrived now. Hook shot in. Going to catch Jubilu. The stun's being channeled by the Alchemist. It will land onto whoever he throws on. It's going to be for the Skywrath Mage. So they get the kill on the Centaur. Now they're going to get the kill on the Skywrath Mage as well. That was an elaborate bait, I want to say, from DDX, or was just him just playing games with the houses down. Either way, it worked out very well for Isurus.
Yeah, in the meantime, down in bottom, Brewmaster used the split to try to get the Meepo, but then again, the animation on split is too long for you to reliably get locked down onto the Meepo. He was just able to poof away in time. Good reactions. This time it's also going to be the case is nothing to cancel that poof. He's going to need a little bit of harass as well as being slowed on the other end, but it doesn't actually matter for Vestius. Vestius' item choice is going to be that Blink Dagger first. It'll help him be pretty aggressive, similar to the Templar Assassin. If he's able to catch out the Jakiro, it'll be a pretty easy kill, but most of the other heroes are not as easy to bring down. The Alchemist also fairly quick. If they cancel his Blink Dagger and currently channeling up stun, looking for Vestius, he's going to be the one to gank, and he's just going to be chunked down by that unstable concoction and brought down by the battery assault of Pepita. Dominating spree for him. Pepita's Clockwork's really been on point today.
Yeah, I don't think he's missed a single hook shot just yet, and he's been roaming around pretty aggressively for the kills. Although, to be fair, that one kind of just fell into their lap. They were in the right place at the right time, had the wards available, so they knew exactly where the Meepo was moving, and once you landed Unstable Concoction with that medallion minus armor on top of that, it's going to be easy cleanup on Meepo. Though he does have quite a bit of armor at this stage of the game, it's not nearly going to be enough because what he has in armor, he lacks in health. Now the hookshot onto Gooey. This Skywrath Mage is going to drop his ultimate, and, well, Blade Mail not going to do anything because he's already dead. But Clockwork still getting another kill, and it's going to be a safe teleportation away from Pepita. Isurus looking a lot more solid in this game than they were in the last, and they're also roaming around now with DDX, who has an Invis rune, so Surprise Meld out of nowhere might catch and potentially kill a Posa in like 2 or 3 hits. The Posa doesn't know about this. Refraction is down, but there's the Meld hit. Now the Refraction's back up. The Posa's got to book it with the Stampede. Looks like he will stick the landing, although Jubilu's going to come around for LDS. Triple poofs as well as Sunstrike. LDS is going to get obliterated before he can do much of anything. Unfortunately, he ran the wrong way, and that just sucks.
It really does, and he didn't even come away with the kill on the silencer because of it. Yeah, that ward inside the enemy jungle coming out from Isurus has paid off twice for both of those kills in Meepo as they find themselves gooey yet again. Pepita going to find himself an initiation, although this one didn't require the hook shot. Pepita on an unstoppable spree. That blade mail is going to be a very problematic item for THD, especially the Skywrath Mage and also the Centaur. If you double edge a blade mail target, you're going to end up taking a lot more damage than they are, especially when you're not working with a pipe hood or anything along those lines. TP up top, coming out from the Centaur, he's actually going to find the initiation on Nadera. Now with the Sunstrike following through, Nadera's going to fall. Beautifully placed Sunstrike, not even going to land on any of the creeps. Dominating spree equally for the Invoker, who's working with the 4-staff Midas as well as making so the Necrobook 3.
Vestius has a Blink Dagger, and he's looking to go in, although Clockwork is already leaving the lane. He's going to find himself a double damager, and I think make a rotation up towards top. The Alchemist is still able to put out some pretty serious damage with the Medallion plus the Acid Spray minus armor. If they catch any one of these cogs, they're just going to die, and I think the lucky customer is going to be Yuka. There's the stun opening for the hook shot to follow up from the south. He has a Force Staff, but I don't think it's going to really matter. He does force his way out, and now Stampede, he's going to survive. Cogs are going to miss. And looks like Invoker will survive in the end, so well played by the Invoker, and really Centaur has saved his buddies more times than once, and Stampede being used almost purely defensively so far isn't ideal, but as long as you keep your Invoker alive and your Silencer alive with them, then I think it's going to be perfectly okay for the houses down. Unfortunately for them, Isurus didn't actually use anything big in order to try to go for that Invoker kill. The only hook shot, and that's back up in 20 seconds anyway. Fullback's still on top lane. He's going to try to dodge vision. He will be successful in doing so. Alright, fullback, I'm like 90% sure that he got out of vision. He might have been spotted by a Forge Spirit, I don't know. He was skirting right on the edge. If he comes out and finds Yuka, there's going to be a Ghost Walk in 4 seconds. So it's possible for fullback to get this kill, although it seems unlikely. More likely than not, it's going to be Vestius moving upwards to the Alchemist, and also Dulce moving upwards to follow the Meepo. And if that happens, I'm pretty sure Isurus should take a nice team fight, unless Global Silence is really crippling.
Yep. As useful as the Centaur ultimate is to get everybody in position, the heroes that want to be in the middle of these fights, the Meepo and the Centaur, have Blink Daggers of their own, so using it purely defensively is just fine. And the Invoker even has a Force Staff, as well as a Force Staff on the Centaur to back him up. So Centaur ultimate is kind of just there to keep the Silencer safe, more or less, as well as the Meepo. So yeah, top. They don't have vision of fullback, and I don't think it was clipped by vision at all. If you toggle that over towards them, the line is just in front of this tree, despite me not being able to draw on the map when it's paused. Honestly, this would be the best time to draw, but there you go. Yeah, I don't think that he's going to be able to get this kill, and probably will just blink TP out. I'm not sure. We'll have to see.
Alright, so I guess 1 if you think the Invoker is going to get ganked, 2 if you think fullback's going to overextend. But he does have Pepita, who's in the area, kind of. Doesn't have a hookshot, though, so I don't know if he's going to be entirely relevant. It depends on how long this Alchemist survives. Against poof damage and a Sunstrike, he might not survive for very long. He is going to reveal himself now, and then blink away. Well, that was kind of anticlimactic, but still they can go for kills here. Vestius is going to want to go in, but unknowns to him, he has a Brewmaster right behind him. There's the blink in for the poofs onto fullback, who's now stuck in the corner. He's going to get a Mystic Flare dropped right on top of his head. Dulce's going to jump in after the Alchemist's death, try to go for Yuka, who's going to try to Force Staff his way out. Also Ghost Walk, and he will be just fine. Vestius will teleport and poof away with all of his Meepos, bar 1. Pepita's going to catch it with the Battery Assault, and that's going to be a 1-for-1 trade in the end. Although Templar Assassin's still looking for more, I don't think she's going to find anyone just yet. So it wasn't the cleanest for Isurus, but they do get the Meepo at the very least. Split is down, however, and that split actually didn't do that much.
Yeah, it didn't. They also blew the Global Silence, and they weren't able to stop the split, and at the very least, the Brewmaster survived through that very effectively and wasn't burst down. It's a 1-for-1 trade, and it's going to favor Isurus, as the Meepo is the one to die. Clockwork just peeling it away, and they also get the Tier 2 tower on top of it, although it wasn't healthy to begin with. Bottom, they are going to go for the Clockwork. The Blade Mail is not going to save him here, as he will lose 2 of his intelligence to oppose as he drops to the last word damage. Nobody's close enough in order to do anything after that kill, and well, I think that's about going to sum up the action for now, is everybody's just going to back off towards their side of the map, although Centaur is kind of sticking around and potentially could go if the Templar Assassin and company do overextend, but they're not going to do so. Templar is going to be going towards a Manta style. The build-up for this is actually very peculiar. She goes for the ultimate orb first, but potentially just buying whatever she could at the side shop. Going to be useful up against the Silence from the Skywrath Mage. It's not a bad item by any stretch of the imagination, but I think just getting the BKB would have been a lot more useful. Against BKB, THD have literally nothing to throw up against. They have the right clicks from the Meepo, which aren't entirely relevant, and the Silencer does no damage outside of that as well. The Invoker is probably your best hero as the Alchemist drops. Oh, didn't actually see him fall, but it looks like it was just a blink war stomp, blink poof. Easy kill.
Yeah, they just smoked in and ran into an Alchemist, and at that point, once the stomp lands, your Alchemist is doomed. No Sunstrike needed, and I don't even know if it was being aimed, but regardless, it is going to be a kill on the Alchemist. And also the previous kill on the Clockwork was him trying to go for the Silencer, which is, you know, something worthwhile for a Silencer to do. He's now going to look for the Invoker. He this time has Dust, and he's going to throw a missile. He does spot Yuka, so Yuka is going to Force Staff deep into the trees, now go into the Ghost Walk. However, he's going to get slowed down. It's going to be Chikiro who ends up dying in the middle lane. Got ganked up, and Yuka's not even going to be attempted by the Isurus side. So they kill off the dragon one more time. The house is down, and this split was also used down on bottom. I got to assume that was to help someone teleport out of there. Maybe it was just Silencer.
I suppose so. I was kind of hoping that Clockwork would go for the blind hook, although he is going to reserve that. It's a pretty significant cooldown if you miss it, but then again, I think it's worth the shot. He had the Dust. If it landed, it would have been fairly easy to catch up. There's your Manta style completed on your Templar Assassin, and we do have an Invis rune on our Skywrath Mage, running pretty aggressively into the enemy woods, won't find anybody, although the Brewmaster, Dulce, yeah, he's going to be fine. He blinks away and then's walking back towards his base. He won't get caught out. Currently, Meepo is pushing up top with two of his clones. They're not really missing out on much of the map, as Mid's pushing out too far to safely farm it, although the Clockwork might be able to peel away Meepo and get a kill, especially if he has backup coming in the form of the Alchemist. So if Vestia sticks around with these clones, which he won't do so, he might get caught out, but the Flare going to come through. Where's the hookshot? It's not going to come out in time, as he is going to be able to poof down towards bottom, and the tier 1 tower there is going to be under heavy pressure, as Yuka with the Forged Spirits, as well as just the creeps pushing in, it'll be enough to take this.
And they could even look for more. Dulce is in the area, though he doesn't have a split, and they're going to jump in on Tinutera. There's a Stampede, and, well, they'll miss the Hoof Stomp, and they'll miss the Sunstrike, and they'll miss a little bit of the Mystic Flare, but they'll kill him nonetheless, because they have more than enough. Now Pepita's going to jump in with the huge Cogs, but I don't know if it's actually going to do anything. The Blade Mail's going to return a lot of damage. Now the stun onto Vestius, so the Meepos aren't doing any damage anymore. Chopped down by the Alchemist, although another net is going to secure Vestius' escape for now. Dulce is there, though, beating down the Skywrath Mage. One more whack for the Meepo. That's going to be 2 for 1 so far. Jubilu and Yuka have just to fall back. Meantime, Templar Assassin was mid, but yeah, no Global Silence being used there, which I don't know if it would have helped, but certainly Isurus killing, drawing the house down into those cogs, going to be really, really nice. So the Alchemist still doing a lot of damage with his maxed out Acid Spray, plus the Medallion is now going to put that minus armor to use as they go for Roshan. This is so far minus 8. It's going to be even more if the Templar Assassin had mana for Meld, and it's going to be minus 16 in total. They are spotted out by a Sunstrike, and they're going to fall back, making the responsible decision, though. If they had full map control, they would know that the house is down. We're not able to contest this at all.
Yeah, Clockwork currently sitting mid and might be able to find somebody, although they don't have ward vision of Leposa. That would have been a pretty tasty target for her to go on, or him to go on. The illusion is going to be farmed up, or rather just brought down by the Glaives of Wisdom, and Pepita's just going to sit pretty comfortably. But yeah, we are just going to have everybody backing off and farming for the time being. Centaur and company aren't really in position to look for any of those fights. The silence coming up from the Silencer would have been very useful in that last engagement had they been able to get the Alchemist to stun himself and stopping the Meepo from catching that one. Although, I'm not sure if they had vision of the Alchemist fast enough, as he did have a Blink Dagger to get into there. So yeah, we're going to have yet another pause as Templar Assassin disconnects. DDX, despite having a really good game in game number 1 and a pretty good game number 2, his internet just isn't up to par.
Yeah, well, what he lacks in internet, he's making up for in farm, which is a sentence that I never thought I would say, but it's certainly true, as he's holding on to the Manta style now. It'll help him against those global silences and even the single target silences from the Skywrath Mage. A very useful item to have on the Templar Assassin, most crucially because it does give you all that movement speed from the Yasha, so you could get in and get out. They're going to Stampede, look for this Dragon. They're going to land a 2-man Stomp and a Sunstrike onto Dara. That'll be his death. I don't think anyone else is going to die. It looks like Pepita is going to go in solo. Going to get poofed down, demolished, in fact. Blade Mail doing nothing for him there. It's a free 2 kill for the House is Down, using that Stampede to initiate. And now they're going to go for the Roshan, and they should be able to clear this out pretty easily. Yuka has a nice little army here, and the Meepos do pretty much destroy Roshan, so it's going to be a free Aegis for the House is Down. Unfortunately for Isurus, they were just caught a little bit out of position. If they do want to fight this one, they're going to have to be walking into... No Global Silence, actually. That was actually used. But it will soon to be refreshed, as the Silencer is getting quite a bit of farm, and soon to be Refresher Orb is going to mean double Global Silence, going to absolutely cripple the Isurus gaming side, and also do some pretty sizable damage to them as well. The double Curse to Silent is not to be underestimated.
Yep, as Vestius has been laning more or less as a support and has been chilling in the jungle for a lot of this game. He's not going to have his Agam Scepter very fast, but he's going to have that almost completed. Probably going to send it to himself out in the courier very soon, and, well, running with 4 Meepos currently is going to be maxed out in that department in just a couple more seconds, as he's going to leave a couple of them down bottom to help out the Invoker. But yeah, currently the drawings on the map coming out from the Invoker are going to be up in top, as they don't really have very good vision inside their own jungle, and what vision they do have is going to time out fairly shortly. But yeah, they're just going to back off and farm. The Aegis on the Meepo is going to keep them pretty comfortable around the map, although right now they're not going to be playing very aggressive as they don't see anybody, and the smoke is going to go the way of the Invoker. He's going to disjoint that stun, or maybe not. Yuka is going to be stunned up. He's force-staffed away. Center ultimate might keep him safe enough, as the Invis is going to disjoint that boulder. The Pandas are still trying to chase him down. They throw him up in the air, and now looking for a little bit more disable. Again, they're going to purge him down to the ground. The second boulder toss is not going to be able to be disjointed as they jump into the backlines onto the Skywrath Mage. Will blow him up as the Invoker is being brought down by the Alchemist, as well as the Brewmaster, finding himself a killing spree and a 0-for-2 trade in the favor of Isurus, and also cleaning up the Forge Spirits after the fact.
Well, that was a little bit slow from Dulce. Unfortunately for him, the Earth aspect is the one that carries the auras first, so he was lagging a little bit behind, and the Invoker ended up dodging quite a few spells because the True Sight was, fading in and out as he got in and out of the range of the gem. So they get the kill in the end, and they use the split for it. So all in all, Isurus got to be pretty happy for that. Ultimately tying up the score 21-21, and this game is remarkably even. It's only a 1,000 lead going either way, 2,000 gold going either way, and still, it's pretty much anyone's game. With the Templar Assassin farming up a Storm, now going to be going for most likely a crit, and the Silencer kind of doing the same thing along with the Meepo. The longer this game goes, the more value the Houses Down are going to get out of their hands of Midas, but still Isurus are doing just fine, as Dulce is going to get netted up top. All the Meepos are missing, though. Poofs don't miss. And now Dulce is going to be brought down. That Drunken Haze small AoE is going to be huge. And the fullback looking for a stun. He's going to channel it, throw it. It's going to go all the way across the map. And Meepo gets in for a kill and then gets out, still holding on to that Aegis.
Crucially for Isurus, they didn't lose their gem, as Meepo wasn't able to pick that up with his main Meepo fast enough. He just TP'd out in order to blink away all of his little clones. So at the very least, they maintain that. For the Brewmaster, will probably pick that up after he respawns. So still a good pickup for the Meepo, and holding on that Aegis is going to allow THD to fight a lot more effectively. Although they aren't working with double Silencer ulti, with the Refresher, they are going to have at least one if they want to force the issue. And they could probably just wait until the second ultimate is available. There's 3 minutes still left on this Aegis. Vestius has plenty of time to put this to good use as the Yule Scepter goes away to the center. Will cancel his blink in the Ice Path. He goes with Macro Pyre on top. He's going to be slowed. Now the stun from the Alchemist is going to force down to the low ground. He does have a little bit of backup, but it's not enough as the meld from the Templar Assassin blows him apart. That's going to be equally good trade for Isurus. Is up in top. We might be looking to go on to Vestius. Let's see. Pepita does not have any backup, and as we saw earlier, if the Clockwork goes in, he probably is just going to get poofed down. As good in theory as it is to be a Clockwork up against a Meepo, you really need the backup. He's going to spend his poofs, and this could be an opening. He's not going to be able to poof away in time, and now they're just going to battery assault. Split between 2 of them, and that's are going to be pretty useful. They do have poofs to come in if Vestius wants them, but he might just spend this, especially if the Brewmaster is going to use his ultimate. He's just going to be able to get out of there. As the battery assault being split, it's not going to be enough, but the second Meepo is going to fall eventually. Trying to poof out, not going to be enough. Vestius is going to lose his ultimate, but since his Meepo Prime is inside his own jungle, won't lose it a second time. Still a lot committed from Isurus. This still could be a pretty decent opening for THD.
Yeah, they're down their Centaur, and by the time the enemy does get to their tier 3, if that is what Isurus are going to go for, there will be double Global Silence. And once that happens, I really don't know if Isurus could fight. They certainly can't right now because they don't have a split. But even if they did have split, double Global Silence is pretty freaking crippling, and it will probably just destroy the team fight from Isurus, especially if they don't have their Alchemist. And Alchemist is currently separated, and he's going to be separated from his team a little bit longer, as he's going to be taking most likely a quick trip to the grave, because Meepo's going to jump in with all the poofs. Fullback is not going anywhere. that was just 3 Meepos. Yeah, 3 Meepos just completely crushed that Alchemist. Easy game for the Meepo.
Daedalus on the Templar Assassin. This game might be a little bit more difficult, as if she does get a meld crit onto the Meepo, he's not going to be long for this world, as those crits are going to be dishing a lot. Tier 2 tower is going to fall in their favor, however, the Tier 2 tower up top is also going to be taken down. Didn't actually see when that died, and it might have been down for quite a bit. But yeah, down in bottom, THD are going to go as the Clockwork Templar Assassin aren't close. They need to get back to the base very quickly, and they will do so, but might lose their Tier 3 tower beforehand. The nets are going to come out from Vestius, but don't land on anything, and they're just going to back off. He actually does net up Pepita. Centaur ultimate, they're jumping in, although the Yule Scepter on the Centaur is going to drop the Deafening Blast Meteor combo right into the Templar Assassin. She disconnects. What a terrible time to DC.
The only thing that would have saved her there was if she was actually, like, moving around, because I'm pretty sure, unless she had amazingly fast hands, maybe she could have blink dodged away from Jubilu's initiation, but they killed her off in such a way that she couldn't do anything, so I don't know if that really would have mattered, the fact that he DC'd. It really depends on when he actually left the game, so the internet is not going to make up for the Templar Assassin's farm. It doesn't matter what you have, because if you're disconnected, you're not going to be winning the game. More pro advice coming out from HeflaTV. This is going to be a very easy smash and grab for the houses down. They crush the bottom Raxes, and yeah, it is a little bit of bad luck for DDX, but that's the price you pay for having shitty internet.
I suppose so. The smoke reinitiate potentially coming out from THD. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to find anybody, but fullback and Pepita get stomped up. Could be huge, and fullback, he's going to be able to disjoint that, and the Sunstrike comes through, but it doesn't actually matter. Vestius should be fine, but now he's going to be clipped in, and now they jump in. The Global Silence isn't going to do much as BKB comes out from the Brewmaster, and Vestius is probably going to be dropped. They're not focusing on the same Meepo, but there you go. Vestius trying to prove out, not going to be successful as he's down for 60 seconds. Also, Centaur brought down to the ground. That one's not going to do damage. This is from the Brewmaster clone, and he will be able to blink away. Yuka not going to be so lucky as he gets boulder tossed up to follow up Ice Path and the right clicks, critting him down the claps, and Alchemist secures himself that last hit.
So that Alchemist blink, that's exactly what I was talking about for the Templar Assassin. That was her only chance at living, and, well, she was disconnected, so she couldn't. But either way, Isurus, they were in such a comfortable position, but all it took was one dedicated push from the houses down, one kind of unlucky disconnect from GDX, and all of a sudden, there's a 4,000 drop in gold, about a 4,000 drop in experience as well. And Isurus suddenly not looking as safe as they were just 2 minutes ago. So, kind of unfortunate circumstances for Isurus, but they're still not out of this game by any means. They still have DDX, who's completely stacked out of his mind with the Daedalus. And if they get initiation up on top lane with a Yule Scepter, Leposa can very easily go down. Looking for it from Nadera. There it is. Ice Path to follow. Macro Pyre should be used here as well. Leposa can take a lot of damage from the blinking Templar Assassin. Goodbye. Here comes Vestius with a whole bunch of blinks, but LDS is just going to town, sitting in the Macro Pyre as well. He's going to get hit with the full Mystic Flare, and he's going to go down. DDX can't do anything versus that. Vestius, though, trapped in the cogs, will go down as well. So far, a 2-for-1, I think. Jakiro, though, going to be chased down. Where's the rest of Isurus Gaming? Pepita is in the area. He's going to run away. Nadera is all alone right now. Where's the Alchemist is on bottom lane. They just are completely abandoning this Jakiro, although now he's going to get a little bit of help from Pepita, who's going to bail once again. Put up some cogs, man. Help your buddy. The Jakiro's going to be brought down by the Arcane Bolt, and Pepita is now left all alone. I don't really know why the Clockwork just bailed on his Jakiro friend, but he's now going to be chased down. Doesn't have a TP scroll, so he may very well go down. Centaur doesn't have that much mana, however, so killing off Pepita is going to take a very long time if it happens at all, especially when he just hook shots away. That was such an awkward engagement, though. I mean, they killed off the Silencer, and then they kind of got punished for it, but still, it was... I don't think that fight should have gone that way.
It probably shouldn't have. They killed a Meepo before him picking up, presumably, a Scythe of Ice with the Ultimate Orb. So that's a pretty big pickoff for them. It's still fairly even, although losing your Templar Assassin, definitely not what you want to have happen. Pepita is going to complete up his Aghanim Scepter in the base, and that's going to be available in the next team fight. So he's going to be slinging out those hook shots very liberally, and, well, they've been on point throughout this game, and it'll probably help them quite a bit, especially when you're dealing with Templar Assassin. Usually isn't going to be having the greatest range, but it's enough to go over the cogs, which is pretty much all that she needs to do. If they're able to isolate a Meepo or two inside the cogs, hopefully not too many, as then the battery assault wouldn't be able to cancel off the poofs away. But either way, they still should be able to find some pretty crucial kills, as DDX is dishing and now working towards this BKB. Once he has that, DDX has very little, if anything, to fear inside the fights. Even the double silencer ulti isn't going to happen, as Manta style out of the first one, then BKB, and then fight out of the second.
The only thing he has to fear is his internet connection, as terrible as it
I
is
think
to
so.
say. But yeah, BKB is at this point a complete necessity for DDX. He is disconnected again, it looks like. That sucks, but he is really going to need that BKB, because if it doesn't pop off, it's just going to be 100% Mystic Flare once again from the Skywrath Mage. It does 1,000 damage, and that's 1,000 damage out of Templar Assassin's 1,800. It's a health drop that you really can't afford. BKB will block absolutely all of that, and if she had a BKB during that last fight, she would have been more than okay to turn things around and fight with the Jakiro. They're going to go for Pepita down on the bottom area, though the cogs are up, and now Jubilu is forced out. Pepita, though, is going to get hit with the Sunstrike, and the Meepos are there as well. Huge amount of damage going to the Clockwork. Post is going to steal a little bit of intelligence there, and that's going to be a free kill for the House is Down, although Ice Path is going to wall them off. Here comes Fullback all alone, however. Not a good plan, bro. He's going to try to BKB TP out of this with the Ice Path, and Macropyre will be successful. LDS is going to try to go for Leposa, but now he's hexed up, and LDS is going to get focused down. The Stomp is there. Meteor is going to drop on him as well. That's the Templar Assassin dead. Nadera is going to be fine to teleport out, but the House is Down. Kill off the Templar Assassin yet again. That's no buyback on her, and crucially it's going to be potentially a Rax's because of the fact there's no buyback. Also, she is now eons away from that BKB. The House is Down have a huge opportunity right now to take a second set of Rax's.
They really do. This tier 2 tower at the very least is going to fall, and yeah, tier 3 tower in mid is probably going to fall suit, if not the Rax's. 50 seconds without a Templar Assassin is going to be a crucial timing for them, as that's really their main damage source. As nice as the control from the Brewmaster is, at this point in the game, it's not enough. Meepo, although not generally thought of as super tanky, with 2200 HP is pretty tanky, and now he's going to be gone on. He's falling fairly low, especially when being concoctioned up. But now they right-click down Dulce. Dulce is dropping pretty low as well. He's silenced up through his BKB. They're going to follow up with the Hex, and now he's going to be brought down without being able to use up his ultimate buyback from the Brewmaster. He wants to get back into here as the hookshot goes on Leposa. 4 staff away will keep him safe, but Vestius might not be so lucky as he poofs into the cogs, presumably, as Vestius, he tries to get out. He's going to be 4 staffed away, very low, 74 HP. Trying TP out, it's not going to happen as the poof is just not fast enough as the backlines. The fight is going out. Jubilu is going to lose his life, as is the Invoker. Hookshot finally going to miss from Pepita, not going to be able to find anybody because Skywrath Mage is down towards the south, but they are going to pursue with the Storm aspect. I don't think they'll find anything, but crucially, their barracks still stand, as does their tier 3 tower.
Now that DDX is back alive, they're probably going to go down the mid lane, try to take Rax's and or force buybacks. It's ultimately just going to pull out a whole bunch of buybacks from the House is Down, which is a nice little win for Isurus. It's just more gold that the enemy team is not going to be getting. Isurus somehow make the defense happen with only 4 heroes, Templar Assassin not being involved in that at all, which is not really what I've expected. They're going to go for Roshan instead. I would have really like to see them try to force out the buybacks. I feel like that's probably more important than a double life under DDX. Although you can't really underestimate an Aegis at this point in the game, especially when Templar Assassin has gone for a huge glass cannon build. So it's going to help her quite a bit. The Skywrath Mage Illusion is going to poke his head in. Ultimately not do anything, as DDX needs to buy a BKB and needs to save her buyback. He can save for buyback right now, although he's going to straight buy the BKB. He's all in with the Aegis. And now, Isurus, if they take a nice fight here, they'll be forcing buybacks from the houses down, and they do have kind of an opening with the Aegis power that they have. Brewmaster ultimate, not for another 20 seconds. So they're going to wait, or they should wait, for this ultimate to come back from the Brewmaster. He does have the BKB, but double Global Silence. Take a quick look at that status. It's only 0, actually, Global Silences. This is a nice opportunity for Isurus. I think they have to let the bottom lane be in breach for a little bit because they have an opening where the Silencer does not have his ultimate. And now the Brewmaster should have his ultimate. Yes, he does. BKB is being delivered, and they're just going to breach the high ground. Liquid Fire to start things off. Fullback going to trudge his way through the ice path, or the ice wall, rather. Now he's going to get hexed up. Meteor drops him in as well. Huge poofs in, and that's going to be the death of the Alchemist. Where is DDX and all this? Pepita going to kill off the Skywrath Mage, or at least bring him very low. Oh my god. Isurus, no, this is so infuriating, even for me. DDX doing 0 damage in this fight, and they're already down their Alchemist. They couldn't get the kill on the Skywrath Mage either. Oh man, this is just painful, man.
It really is. Like, you have to feel for them. DDX, he's standing there and he can't do anything. It must be so frustrating for him, but already, into the game we go. Vestius looks like he's going to destroy Nadera here as soon as the pause ungoes, and there Nadera is going to be Eul Sceptered up. Now Vestius finally dropping pretty darn low, and he is going to fall. Probably forced a buyback here as they also get the kill onto the Centaur. Finally, DX is able to do his damage. Buybacks galore coming out from both sides. Clockwork also trying to get back into this fight as the Meepo TPing onto the front lines. He's going to blink forward and get Nadera down, but now he's man fighting up against DDX here. DDX isn't doing enough damage in order to warrant this, and now Meepo trying to get out of here safely. Will he be able to do so? Vestius dropping pretty low as DDX is going to be be the one to lose his Aegis, although move away from the Meepo. Meepo's going to leave one of his remaining. The net is going to land very nicely on DDX, but almost instantly kills the Scarlet Mage, but now with the Hex onto DDX, he's going to lose his life yet again. Buybacks were forced out, but it's still going to be enough to win in this fight. Now they're looking for more. We'll be able to find it. Brewmaster TP's out, Clockwork's going to be off to the side, and will be back out to safety. So, that is going to be about it. I'm not sure what the final numbers are in that engagement, but man, DDX, you need to find a new ISP or something. That's just the worst time in the world to disconnect.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as he reconnected, he absolutely obliterated the houses down. Like, he just went to town on that Meepo, killed him off in like 2 or 3 hits, got the side blade damage with the crits, and Meepo just crumbled. If he was doing that from the beginning of the fight, it would have been so different from Isurus, but unfortunately, as well as they're playing in-game, just the out-of-game circumstances ultimately is what, I don't want to say is what is losing them the game, but it's definitely playing a lot larger role than it ordinarily should. You guys need some Jesus. Yeah, I think you need to pray to something in order to maintain your internet connection, because if they do maintain connection with the Templar Assassin, they do have still a pretty nice chance of winning. Although Templar Assassin, she bought out for the BKB, relied on the Aegis, and now she has no buyback. The house is down, they used all their buybacks as well, but they have enough power in this middle lane to just straight push this down. Brewmaster does not have his ultimate, Alchemist is going to be up, but that's not going to be enough. I think Isurus are going to very quickly be down 2 sets of Raxes.
Yeah, I think that's pretty fair. I don't think they'll be able to go for the third, as they'll probably be forced back and just wait until Meepo has buyback again. But I think they're pretty comfortable in doing so. Meepo has a lot of room to grow from here on out. Usually at this point in the game, you're going to see a Meepo with a lot more items than this, but getting a Hex on your Meepo is going to be crucial. Especially once the Templar Assassin's BKB starts wearing down. Currently, that's not going to be as big of an issue, but when the fights drag out as long as they did in the last one, when you have a buyback available, coming back for the second life and Blink scything up the Templar Assassin is pretty much her demise. As with just a Mantis-style Daedalus on top of that BKB, she just can't stand and fight very effectively.
Yeah, and especially if she's always disconnecting. Hopefully,
yeah,
this long disconnect is going to be the last one, but I think they should have done this like 10 minutes ago, before they lost the first Rax. After the first disconnect, it's like, okay, DDX needs to do that, restart his PC, make sure that he's not going to disconnect anymore, because blinking in and out of the game is not good. And yeah, I'm sure it's his sound that's really causing him to disconnect. That's... Okay, so it's not even going to fix his disconnecting? What's the point? He's... Oh, God, this is painful.
It's really annoying to play Dota without sounds, and I think it's more a case of the disconnecting causing sound issues than the sound issues causing disconnecting, but still, it is actually very painful to watch.
Well, just fight under global silence. You don't have anything to listen to anyway.
Fair enough.
Alright, well, take a quick look at all the items. Remarkably, for THD, they have 4 brown boots still. That's kind of weird. Like, I don't think I've ever seen brown boots, this many brown boots this late. The Meepo has power treads because it's pretty standard, but everyone else, they're just working with the regular boots, and, well, looks like we're gonna get going, but I don't know if the house is down could actually be stopped in this push. They are barreling down the middle lane, and Templar Assassin has no buyback. It's a minute holdout for the Isurus, and let's say 35-second holdout. Brewmaster needs his ultimate, at the very least, to have a chance, and I don't think they could do it. Vestius is gonna demolish this creep wave with poofs. They don't have the Skywrath Mage, but they don't really need the Skywrath Mage. They're just going to breach the high ground, and that's going to be the end of this tower. No fortification is going to hold them up a little bit. Pita is in the back end, looking to cause some chaos with that Clockwork, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. Going for the post is ideal, and fullback is going to throw a nice little stun, land onto a whole bunch of Meepos. Now here comes Pepita, wants to go for the post, is going to open things up with the Cogs, going to catch him as well as Yuka. The Rax is still taking a good amount of damage, but Vestius is going to get really on top of everyone. Now the Alchemist chopping away, but he's not doing anything. Brewmaster is also going to go down, no split there. The Alchemist is in a swarm of rats, and he's going to go down. Templar Assassin still needs 10 seconds to go. The Clockwork did manage to survive off of that. Macropyre Ice Path going to do a little bit of damage from the house to the houses down, but it's definitely not going to be enough. The Invoker didn't even need his Necro Book there. With no Templar Assassin on the field and no split Isurus, they have no hopes at taking that fight.
Yeah, Vestius, one of his Meepos got incredibly low during that engagement, but it's only one of them, and they'll be able to send that one back to base as they take this 2-2 tower top. And next fight, Vestius is going to have his completed item, whatever it might be. Sitting on 5,000 gold, he could pick up whatever ultimate orb item he wants, or maybe just go for Reaver, I don't know. I'm going to assume this is a Scythe, and it looks like that is going to be the choice. So there. Vestius, he doesn't have Boots of Travel just yet. He'll probably purchase those in the near future, especially with no buyback for 3 minutes. I think he'd just kind of go for it, so those power treads, and get those upgraded to the Boots of Travel, so he can get back into these fights. But then again, he doesn't even need to do that. Vestius is pretty darn stacked. Templar Assassin is back up, and Isurus have hopes of defending, especially if they can find a pick-off, but Pepita not going to find a hook shot, and I think that was blocked by the Templar Assassin.
Yeah, that was kind of unfortunate. I don't think they would have gotten the kill on the Centaur anyway, because he has a Force Staff, but they didn't even have the option to do so. And now DDX, way ahead of his team, is going to all but two-shot the Scarth Mage. No, he's actually going to get Hex in response. DDX is going to die. Pepita's here to help, but not really. It's more like Pepita's here to die. Blade Mail is going to return a little bit of damage, but now the Templar Assassin's down for a whole lot of time. This time she has buyback, which is completely necessary, because I think the house is down. They're just going to go for top lane one more time. Roshan isn't really quite up yet. Who has the Aegis? I think it was used. Yeah, it was used. The Templar Assassin had it. So no Aegis on the field, no Templar Assassin, no Clockwork. He has no buyback. Isurus, they are going to, at the very least, lose this tier 2 tower, but it seems like they're going to lose this last set of Raxes as well. The Brewmaster is going to have to make a miraculous defense right here.
Yeah, Lepozo with the Blink Scythe is going to make that even more difficult, and he's going to have Blink Double Scythe as well in the next fight. It's just so scary. He's going to at least have one ultimate available to start things off, and that'll probably buy him enough time to get the refresher up. Yeah, we do still have a smoke available on the Centaur, but if anything, it's just mind games. BKB blink in by the Brewmaster. He wants to do something, but I think he's just going to lose all of his minions here. Meepo focusing him down. He's going to lose at least 2 of them. Now the Earth one not looking too healthy. The poofs come in from Vestius. Now goes on DDX. DDX is starting to dish on to Vestius, and with a nice Ice Path macro power, he's going to lose his life here. 85 seconds without a Meepo. Centaur is also very low, but is on the back lines of the fight. Will be able to survive his DDX, just ripping him to shreds. Scarth Mage going to fall. Deafening Blast going to delay things, but DDX is back with a vengeance. Going to man to dodge out of that. The Global Silence is going to come up, but it's not going to save the Invoker's life, and now Silencer, one of the only survivors, as is the Centaur. I think both of them are going to be able to get out safely, but that fight went a lot better for Isurus than I thought it would. And, well, Brewmaster was able to find the jump in, and they focused a lot of time on trying to get Dulce down, but that just bought them enough time to bring DDX as well as the Jakiro into the fights. Getting really nice Ice Paths as well as that splash damage pays off in a huge way.
You can never really underestimate the power that is Drunken Haze. Like, Meepo is going to be doing next to no damage with that, and that was even worse for Isurus, given the fact that DDX, he got hexed as soon as he joined that fight. He fired one attack and then got hexed. So while the Brewmaster was running interference for him, DDX wasn't even doing the maximum amount of damage, yet it still went remarkably well for Isurus. Now they're the ones to go down the mid lane. Meepo does have buyback. Oh, wait, no, he doesn't for another 45 seconds. The Invoker does have his. And Isurus, this is their chances to take a nice set of Raxes. Pepita's going to jump very far in, go for Gooey. That's going to be death of the Skyrath Mage. The Post is also going to get stunned up, and the Centaur going to get pushed back by the Cogs. Going to cancel the Stomp. In fact, as DDX going to pop the BKB. Stampede is going to let everyone escape up to the top lane. Fullback might not be as lucky. He's going to pop the BKB, taking much reduced damage from the Silencer, but he's still being wailed upon by Leposa. He's going to get the kill in the end. Jubilu now getting chased down by DDX. The Heaven's Halberd is going to help a little bit, but not enough. DDX now going to hit with the Mystic Flare in the Cogs. He's going to go down. No buyback from the Templar Assassin. It was a bold attempt from Isurus, but ultimately Stampede, as well as the damage that Silencer is putting out, is going to give the Houses Down a nice little win with no buyback on the Clockwork, no buyback on the Templar Assassin, and no buyback on the Alchemist. The Brewmaster and Jakiro, they cannot defend right now. Even Centaur is going to buy back and start walking to this mid lane push. They're just going to go for the Jugular, and I don't think Isurus are going to be able to defend this. They're going to try. Killing off the Silencer would be certainly very helpful, but Macro Pyre can only do so much for you. Drunken Haze on the Meepos, doing severely reduced damage to the Jakiro, but more than enough, and now the Brewmaster is facing up against a whole boatload of heroes. He's going to try to run with the Earth Panda, I suppose, because the fire is already down. Wind is taking quite a bit of damage, trying to go for Vestius, but that's going to be a clean sweep. Isurus, they have just lost this game.
Yep, the Ancient is under full breach, and GG called out by Nadaris. The Centaur ultimate, they're just going to run at it as it's going to explode very shortly. Whether it's destroyed or not is another story, and they're going to glyph this as we're probably just going to see it die. And there you go. It is going to be GG called out, and just like the game number 1, it's one fight that pretty much says it all. This one, it was kind of spread out into 2, where you had the one fight that the Meepo died, and then they tried to go off of that in order to just straight up push high ground. And that was where Isurus really lost it all. It's the Templar Assassin dying without buyback available for quite a long time is going to cost them this game. So that's going to be a 1-1 best of 2. It's all that we're going to have here, unfortunately. I'd love to watch a game number 3, but I'm not sure if DDX's internet could handle it.
Yeah, I'd like to see them play, but, you know, with good internet connection. But as Grandis said, guys, this is going to be the end of this Best of 2 series and also the end of the night. So I hope you guys all enjoyed the casting. If you did, be sure to hit that follow button right below your screen. Also follow us on Twitter and Facebook at twitter.com, facebook.com/HeflaTV. The VODs will be up on youtube.com/HeflaMoke in a couple of hours. And aside from that, just going to return to the wait screen and fix the error. And, well, we're just going to close out the night. I'm Mike Loris. I've been joined by Grandis V, and we are signing off, guys. Hope to see you again next time. GG.